1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Good morning, listeners, and welcome back to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ronald Couming of RCS Technology Solutions. At RCS Technology Solutions, we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success using various Internet marketing metrics and techniques to help them attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers and clients to, you guessed it, achieve even greater success. Today, our second guest today is her name is Brent Harding, a global entrepreneur, speaker, and author. Brent is the founder of the Wealth Warrior Broadcast, a weekly internet show dedicated to helping people achieve financial freedom and generational prosperity through financial literacy and focused action. Brent, how are you doing today?
I am doing gloriously wonderful and absolutely marvelous. Thank you so much for having me on your on your radio show. It is my pleasure to be here this morning.
Excellent, and what a great opening. Those are a lot of adjectives put together all at one time. Thank you very much. How you doing today? Tell us a little bit about. I met you. I've met you a couple of times, and I've listened to you give presentations. And that's why I asked you to come on to the show. I believe the listeners can derive a lot of value from not only listening to you in this, short interview, but then also connecting with you after. I have the benefit of knowing who you are and what you do, but could you possibly just give us a brief overview of who you are and what you do for the listeners?
Well, sure. As you mentioned, I'm a business coach, a speaker and author, and the producer of an award-winning women's conference that I am extremely excited about that's going to be happening in Boston on September 30th. It is award-winning because we've actually received 3 awards as a result of that event that occurred actually last November, and I'm very enthusiastic about that and would love to share who recognized us if you would like to hear that.
All day, absolutely.
We got an award from Women in Action, Inc., which the executive director of that is Chantel Bethea. That's out in western Massachusetts, and it was a certificate of excellence. And I am so jazzed about that. It says for the execution of strength, empowerment, and recognition of contributions to your community. So we were truly... that set the pace for being award-winning. We also received a certificate of special mayoral recognition from the mayor of Worcester, Joseph Petty, and it was in recognition of our work with Women in Action. And then I'm totally jazzed about a citation. Can you imagine a citation from the Senate? That was executed back. We actually got these awards in February for an event that just occurred in November, and that was considered pretty darn amazing from the Senate. Stanley C. Rosenberg, the president of the Senate, signed off on that, and we are, again, totally jazzed. And, again, it was in for recognition of being honored for our ongoing support of the mission of Women in Action and of women in general when it comes to entrepreneurship. So that was certainly something that we're enthusiastic about. And what it does is it benefits us so that this upcoming event we are getting great speakers, and that's why you want those awards, because they give you great speakers for your next event.
Excellent. And that event, I believe, is in September, right?
Yes, it's going to be on Saturday, September 30th, and it's going to be in Boston. Well, it's kind of interesting with Boston. Everything that surrounds it is actually attached to Boston. So everyone you can go up on Eventbrite, and you'll find details for that event. It is in Boston, but it's going to actually be in the city of Quincy, which I hope doesn't sound confusing to the audience, and I do apologize if it did, but it is actually going to be at the Quincy Innovation Center, and I'm excited about that.
Excellent. But the address and the location and a description will be on Eventbrite, correct?
That is correct. Yes, that is correct. But I can unequivocally say it is for women. It's for, by, and about women. However, we're not discriminating. If the gentlemen want to know and understand how women think in business, where their heads are at in business, then we want them to be there as well.
Excellent. I might attend. I mean, it's great to know where women are at and how they think in business, but just as a human being, it's better to understand people as a whole, and if I can learn and grow, or any male can learn and grow, yes, it might help him on a business level, but it would certainly help him within his relationships with women, period. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally.
Many years ago, there was a book, and I hope I'm not dating myself, but there was a book, Men Are for Mars and Women Are for Venus. So, men have been trying to figure out these things for a long time. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, we appreciate you, and I do recall that book. I like to say back in the day, but I do recall hearing about that book. So guess what? we're gonna bring it together on September 30th. How about that?
Excellent. Yep. And at this point, I just looked at my calendar. I speak nationally on Internet marketing frequently, but I have nothing scheduled. So I think I'm going to block out. I think somebody else has something around the 21st, so maybe I'll just block out like a 2-week period just so I make sure I'm in this area.
Well, that would be excellent. We would certainly love to have you. Very definitely love to have you. And I am very enthusiastic to be here with you today. I've got some powerful nuggets to share with your audience, especially around creating an award-winning conference. So I definitely came armed and ready to share with your audience.
Excellent. And just so you know, we have 14 minutes, and we need to include your contact info, but go for it. And thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. There are three major powerful, what I consider powerful nuggets when it comes to creating an award-winning conference. And the very first nugget number one is to know your purpose. What do you want to accomplish in your event? Sometimes you want to accomplish a movement. Sometimes you want to accomplish notoriety. Sometimes you want to grow a tribe. But it's really important to state what your purpose is, and for those that are involved, they need to know what that purpose is. So that's nugget number one. Nugget number two is know your target market. Who should be there? Who should not be there? For example, if you're selling tickets for a basketball game, however, hockey fans keep showing up and they want to buy the tickets, then something didn't go right with that marketing approach. You didn't hit the target. And, that is such an important component. And then the third nugget is understand how to best communicate with people. How are you communicating? Is it through Facebook ads? So you're attracting people and then communicating through Facebook ads. And know who responds to Facebook ads. Is it Twitter? We know that Twitter, oftentimes it's short sound bites, and it is business people are on Twitter very often. Email. Email is not snail mail. People actually do read email. They read it when it's either in flyer form or when it's in small sound bites because we're moving so quickly. Texting. Texting still works. Quite frankly, though, if you're going to text, treat it almost like Twitter, 140 characters or less. And then just how I met you, Ronald, was at a networking event. I heard your prior guest and you talking about, rephrase it, let me say Josh. I heard you and Josh talking about where you met. It's so important to have to go to live activity to see the human connection, to put a face with a name. I will always remember you, sir. And so networking at live events really does make a difference. So, again, those three nuggets that I can give to your audience, those that are looking to create award-winning conferences, award-winning events. Purpose, know your purpose, your target market, the audience for the target market, and, of course, how to best communicate and get the message or the information out to individuals. And I'll put a tag on that one and say, in understanding how to best communicate, be cognizant of how far in advance you need to actually get your promotions started. Those are the three nuggets, if I will, that I'm sharing with your audience. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
I might be having a slight bit of a challenge, so if I'm not responding quite quickly, it's because I'm having a little problem hearing, but I'm going to do the best I can. If you'd like, Ronald, I can share with your audience also a little bit about E3 and how it actually came about, a little bit as I shared with Boston Speaks, obviously not as long, but if you'd like me to share a couple of the highlights, I certainly will.
Absolutely. I think it has a lot of value for the clients. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome, and thank you. It is a women's conference, and it actually started out because Brent Harding personally was hitting what we call the entrepreneurial wall. And what I mean by that, there's a glass ceiling. We're familiar with glass ceilings, women in particular. And what was happening, and this happens to all entrepreneurs, so it's not just women, but what was happening is I was hitting that wall, and what that wall represented was I wasn't seeing the revenue for the amount of time that I was working or the sacrifices that I was making. And what I realized is that I needed to educate myself for business clarity. I needed to get clear about my business and what exactly I was doing, because entrepreneurs sometimes are chameleons. We will take on a contract, and we'll figure it out once we've got a contract. Well, I had to get clear, and I found that there were a number of women that I was talking to that were having the same issue, and that meant pare it down. So the first E in E3 Power Up is to educate for business clarity. The second E has to do with empowering, finding success stories, finding models that will help compress time. And what I mean by that is that there are business models that have already happened. So rather than try to invent something, let's look at who is being successful, figure out what they are doing that's giving them success, and model what they are doing. I'm reminded, I love Muhammad Ali's statement that I read, which he says, "You know my story, but you know my glory, but you don't know my story. You don't know the sacrifices that I made." So rather than us making so many sacrifices, if we can read and model other people's successes, it saves time. It helps us avoid the landmines and ergo. So the second E is empower through success stories. And then you probably remember, Ronald, when I said to the audience at one point, I had it. I wanted to give up. I mean, I'm like, let me get a job because I'm working 80 hours a week. And I heard a speaker once say, the beauty of being an entrepreneur is you get to pick which 80 hours you're going to work each week. And I was almost at teeter-tottering on giving up when I realized I had taken a job, and I had worked that job for 3 days. And at the end of the third day, I went, oh, my goodness, you know what? I'm going to do whatever it takes to be successful as an entrepreneur. So that third E is about validating entrepreneurship as one of the best vehicles for securing, in my case, my financial future. And I'm sure for every entrepreneur, they say the same thing, securing for their financial future. So you end up with E3, the power, and the power is to shoot for the moon, to go straight up. And so, and ergo, E3 Power Up came into existence, and again, it's going to be on September 30th. We had our first one in November, and we're going to do this twice a year. We're going to do it in the spring and in the fall. So it starts for 2017, it'll be in the fall, and then going forward, it'll be twice a year. And we're excited about that. Got a great group of speakers coming to join us.
Nice. Excellent. And all right, so if there was a couple of tips that people could use right now, I know you talk about financial freedom and other things. What would be something that you could give the listeners besides attending your event that would be an actionable tip that they could use?
And did I hear you correctly? You said what would in coming to the event what would be the result, or would just in general? I'm sorry, I missed that part.
Instead of, not just coming to the event. Obviously, they're going to come to the event, but in addition to that, can you give the listeners one or two tips right now to help that what people can do to achieve financial freedom, just in case they can't make that event?
Yes, I certainly can, and thank you for asking. One is find there are investments that are simple investments. In fact, there is an investment literally for $100. You can actually get a quarterly dividend, and that is on a locally based company that has projects that they want people to invest in. They have made made a decision not to be to use it from a stock perspective. They've said they are going out and they're creating clubs of people that will invest in their company, and it's a very well-known company, and I was surprised to hear about it. Very well-known company. So one of the things that I encourage people to do is to find a product, find something that they can invest in that's going to give them perpetual income. Sometimes you would call it residual income, you'd call it royalties, but the point is we need to be investors for ourselves, not only in our own businesses, but invest in things that will produce a revenue stream for us that we can either utilize or we can keep rolling over and over again. That would be my first one. My second one, this is going to sound really kind of strange, but know where your revenue is coming from. And so that means know where your revenue is coming from. Track your revenue, and whatever is working for you, keep doing it. If you have a conventional job, then that's a revenue, and have the mindset of you are a business. You are in the business of you. So whatever your name is, if your name is Brent Harding, then this is Brent Harding Inc. So you want to look at where your revenue is coming from, and then also look at what's going out. I know it sounds like a budget, but it's a little bit different because you're saying income. Where's my income coming in? And count for everything. If it's $10, count for it so that you can see the first three streams, what's bringing in the most revenue. And the things that are bringing the most revenue, keep doing those. If you need to add something so that you are creating the lifestyle that you want. So again, and then from that revenue, you're able to pull some cash out or money out so that you can invest. And again, you're creating that residual income. Ultimately, you get to leave legacies for your children, for your family, and for your children. And I think that's critical mass. So those would be my two activities that I would say for anybody, whether you're an entrepreneur or you are not. Both of these will work for you, and they will end up making you powerful in the long run.
Excellent. Those are all tips. You've given a lot of great advice. I want to thank you. Now, if people wanted to contact you and attend your event, can you please give us your contact information again?
I certainly will. And I thank you for that. Not only if you want to attend the event, or if you need help creating an award-winning conference or an award-winning event, I am more than happy to answer that you might have. My phone number is area code 617-438-7949. And again, that's 617-438-7949. And I would be happy to answer your questions in any way that I can, because your success becomes all of our successes. You get to share with Ronald what great things happened as a result of us working together. So I would love to be able to help you. And Ronald, I do appreciate so much the opportunity of being on your show with your listeners, sharing nuggets and anything that I can do to help enhance the experiences they have. I am here for them and you as well.
Oh, thank you very much. It's so nice. Like I said, listeners, I did get to listen to Brent in person not too long ago. I've met her a few times, and I think she has a lot to offer. So please contact her and consider going to her event. You've been listening to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ronald Couming of RCS Technology Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs attract and retain their ideal customers and clients to achieve even greater success.